everybody, how's it going? Pancheezey here coming at you with the very first, woo baby, episode of This Stuff's Important. I'm of course your host Pancheezey, and today we're going to be talking about the dynamic between Vegeta's character and Cabba's character in Dragon Ball Super and why this stuff is so important. So before we get started, I want to go ahead and give a quick spoiler warning. We are going to be talking about a lot of stuff that's happening in Dragon Ball Super, and if you aren't watching Dragon Ball Super as it's airing in Japan right now, you're gonna get spoiled on a lot of things. So if you want to go ahead and wait until Dragon Ball Super starts airing in English later this year, wait till later this year, and I'll see you later this year. Bye. But of course, if you're still with us, let's go ahead and dive right in, son. So basically, we all know about Vegeta's character. Vegeta's character is 1000% out for himself. Everything he does is for himself because that's just his type of character. And ever since he arrived on planet Earth, he's been that way, and he's honestly never really stopped. Like, he's had that whole foray into starting a family and stuff, but he's admitted that that was almost a plan to make himself stronger because he saw Goku get a family and then fight for his family, and he thought that could be a way of unlocking more power, stuff like that. But that's a completely different topic for another day. But yeah, he's always been out for himself. But this week on Dragon Ball Super, some serious shit went down, and his character came full circle. Now, I'm gonna go ahead and tell you right now, shit's about to get pretty emotional in the first episode of This Stuff's Important, because I wanted to go ahead and talk about what happened to Vegeta's character because of the introduction of Cabba, and it's just really cool. Straight up, one word, just one phrase. It's just really cool, the type of stuff that happened in Dragon Ball Super as of late involving Vegeta, and yo, let's just dive right in. So for those of you who need a little bit of a refresher course, Cabba is a Saiyan. He is a Saiyan from the 6th universe, and in the 6th universe, the Saiyans never became a war-hungry warrior race. They're still a warrior race, but they fight for the good type of war. I guess they don't jack planets, they don't trade planets or anything like that. They basically just fight for the little guy in Universe 6. So during the Inter-Universal Tournament, Goku and Vegeta both meet Cabba, and they exchange some words. Cabba pretty much tells them that he's a Saiyan too. It's really cool to see other Saiyans from other universes and stuff. And then Vegeta has some questions about him, like where's his tail? Turns out that these Saiyans have evolved past using their tails, so they cannot transform into an Ozaru because obviously they don't have the tail. And also later on in the tournament, we find out that they can't transform into Super Saiyans, and this is when he witnesses Goku transform into a Super Saiyan against his fight with Frost. And it's just really cool. All this stuff's gonna come into play in a little bit. So yeah, so eventually Vegeta and Cabba end up fighting each other in the tournament. So right before all this stuff happens, Cabba pretty much bows to him and says, before we start, can you please teach me how to achieve this transformation of a Super Saiyan? And to be quite honest, it really makes Vegeta mad. It pisses him off. And you know, wholeheartedly, a lot of people can agree because Vegeta's character is always about no handouts, nothing at all. Even when it comes to his own son, Trunks, it's never been, you know, a handout type of situation. He's always had to work for not only the love but the respect of his own father. Vegeta's not even going to make that decision to some dude he doesn't even know. So this obviously gets him a little heated. So he just goes right off the bat and says, "That's disrespectful. What are you talking about? Cabba, what are you doing, man? This isn't how we operate as Saiyans." So the match starts, and Vegeta basically just beats the bricks off of him, man. He beats the shit out of this poor kid. He turns Super Saiyan and he goes harder and harder and even harder on Cabba, just like beating him up more and more and more, to the point where some of these dudes from our universe are saying like, yo, has Vegeta gone back to his old ways, his evil ways? Quick side note, every time someone says, has Vegeta gone back to his old and evil ways, you know, give it like 6 seconds, let the plot advance, because generally, as soon as someone says that, everybody comes to a self-realization. Anyway, so 6 seconds later, everybody comes to a self-realization, and then Vegeta tells Cabba, he grabs him, he says, yo son, your family, everyone you love, your wife, your kids' kids, they're dead, son. I'm gonna find them, I'm gonna murder them in cold blood. Obviously, this riles up Cabba, and he's able to use that anger and tap into his Super Saiyan abilities and achieve the Super Saiyan form. So basically, Vegeta unveils his plan, and then he tells Cabba, never forget that anger, because that is the key for turning into a Super Saiyan, which, number one, first of all, is incredible that Vegeta is not only teaching someone how to turn into a Super Saiyan, but teaching him so openly. And this is where it's about to start getting real. This is where we're starting to get into the territory about why I wanted to make this video. So Vegeta has never ever, like, openly taught anybody a lesson like that, and to just teach Cabba, like, right out the gate how to achieve the Super Saiyan form is monumental. So let's put that on the back burner for a little bit. So they go ahead and they duke it out. Cabba, you know, proves his strength. He gets a couple of good hits on Vegeta as he's like all riled up and stuff like that. And then Vegeta finally says, yo, enough is enough. Let's go ahead and end this. He turns Super Saiyan God Super Saiyan, which has now been named Super Saiyan Blue, and just gut checks him to the nth degree. Like, this is crazy. Like, for those of you who have been wishing that Vegeta has Vegeta gets some time to shine and stuff, like, this is a really good episode for Vegeta, because he basically just shows off all his cards, and then that final hit is nuts, man. Like, it's crazy, just and he just body checks this poor kid. And as he's coming down from that Super Saiyan form, Vegeta basically says, never forget this pain. So Cabba's laying down there. He's knocked out. The match is over. Vegeta gets some water, throws it on him, and this is where the real bread and butter starts, ladies and gentlemen. The next thing that happened blew me away. Let me go ahead and tell you. And this is what, like, this is the reason I wanted to make this video. They go into this conversation where Vegeta pretty much tells him, like, that stuff you did at the beginning, asking for me for help, that's not a good look. Period. Like I said before, it's not a good look. That's not how Saiyan pride works. You have to remember your pride, and that is like the nth potential of our Saiyan heritage. Never forget your pride, because that is our heritage, bar none. Period. Him and Cabba exchange a few words. Cabba then says to him, one day I'll become as strong as you, Vegeta. And then Vegeta basically says, don't just match me. I want you to go ahead and surpass me. But I'll let you know that I'll never fall behind. And as Vegeta is walking away, Cabba says, you know, the king of our planet, the king of our race, he is an incredibly proud and strong man just like you, and I want you to meet him one day. And that whole exchange must have meant just so much to Vegeta. Like, Vegeta is a character who essentially has never known what it's like to lead his own people. He is essentially the king, the rightful king of a dead race. Everybody he knows, except for Goku and a couple of half-breeds and stuff, they're all dead. And then before that, it was only Raditz and Nappa. Like, he has never known what it's like to lead the Saiyan people. Like, he's always been built up by his dad for years when he was younger. All of Vegeta's flashbacks always flash back to his father and how he was so excited to become the rightful king of the Saiyan people, and that was all taken away from him from a very early age, well, because of Frieza and all that stuff. And to go ahead and not only meet a member of his race, albeit from a different dimension or different universe, but not only to meet him, but to teach him such a valuable lesson as, like, turning into a Super Saiyan, unlocking his heritage's, you know, hidden potential, like the legendary Super Saiyan form. For him to do that, like, speaks volumes to how his character has grown and stuff like that. Vegeta has always been a dude who is out for himself. He's never cared about anybody else. He's never given a shit about anybody else. But the fact that he sat down with, you know, just his fellow Saiyan and taught him a valuable lesson is immeasurable. For the first time in Vegeta's life, he has properly assumed his rightful role as the king of his people and taught someone from his race a valuable lesson. And even though it was just one person, he definitely made it count, because it's possibly one of the most valuable lessons you can teach to a Saiyan. Never forget the emotions that are tied to unlocking your Super Saiyan ability, and never forget your pride, because pride is the centrifuge of Saiyan ability and Saiyan nobilism and honor and stuff like that. And everything just ties into everything Vegeta held so close and dear to him, and he's taking that and he's teaching it to another member of his race. And this must be huge for him. Like, I can't say it enough. To a character who's never been able to assume his, let's be straight up, his destiny is is huge to finally get a chance to do that. Vegeta's whole life has always been talking about how he's the prince of all Saiyans. It was taken away from him. He's never been able to experience it. And just recently in Super, he's finally been able to assume that role, and his character arc has come 1000% full circle. And, you know, major props to the person who made that happen in Dragon Ball Super, because whoever was in charge of that seriously knows what's up. This is some of the best character development that's happened in the Dragon Ball franchise in a long time, and this is probably one of my favorite interactions of Super so far, and it's pretty safe to say that this is one of my favorite interactions in the entire Dragon Ball franchise as a whole. It's just really powerful, it speaks volumes, and yo, that's why this stuff is important. Anyway, that about does it for the first episode of This Stuff's Important. If you guys have any questions, comments, or concerns, you guys know what to do. Go and stick them in the comment section below, and I'd love to go ahead and start a discussion with you guys. Let's go and talk about this and that. Quick side note, I also kind of think that maybe he was a little soft on Cabba, or he had a little soft spot for Cabba because he reminds him so much of his little brother. It's horrible, but that's definitely a discussion for a later day, because it could almost 1000% be a complete fluke, because God bless Akira Toriyama, but that man can only draw a certain number of hairstyles. Anyway, if you guys want to keep up with me, I definitely have a Twitter, I definitely have an Instagram. I'm way more active on my Instagram than any other social media, so if you guys want to keep up with anything I do, peep the Instagram below. That's about it. I'd really love to hear your feedback as always, and I'll catch you guys in the next video, whether it be a This Is Important or whether it be something else, but either way, deuce.